How's it going, YouTube? So today I bought this iPhone 12 and I need to do a front and back replacement on it so I can flip it for profit. So I'm going to end up basically gutting everything out of the phone, and I'm going to be making a teardown video about the whole thing. If you're interested in how much I made selling it, I don't know, let me know and I'll do videos like that. I'll probably end up doing a video anyway, but yeah, we're literally going to be gutting everything in the phone, and that is everything from the, it doesn't look like this is an 11 Pro Max, but it more or less the same, but our charging port, we're going to be pulling out all the antennas, power, volume, wireless charger, Taptic engine, speakers, etc., and all of this is going to be coming out of the phone. I apologize ahead of time, this is going to be a very long video. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave them below. All right, here we go. So, I have my iFixit Jimmy. If your screen isn't broken and you would like to keep it that way, pay very close attention. So I have my Jimmy. I filed down to make it not into like a knife, I guess you could kind of say that, but it just makes it easier to slot in to the screen. Considerably easier. And then once we're here, I use 99, but you can also use 91% isopropyl alcohol. And I'll do this in real time. But when you get about, I do it in sort of stages. So I'll do the center and then wiggle the left, then the right. Don't use suction. Suction is a terrible idea. I've seen screens get broken that way. Also, make sure to take out your pentalobes, which was boom, boom, there we go. Now you want to be careful because our flex, now this screen is actually worth a few bucks to me. So I'm going to do everything in my power to not damage it. And then getting past these two bottom corners are generally at least the most nerve-wracking. If your screen is damaged, I mean, you don't need to take nearly as good of care. That being said, you still want to be a little careful, because you can't see it here. This is where the, I was about to call it an LCD. This is where the display flex is. And then it's buried in there. But you don't want to open this too far because you can accidentally damage your ear speaker. Flex, and if you do that, then you lose Face ID functionality. All right, so once we're here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tri-wings and then 1 Phillips. Okay, so before we do anything, before we disconnect anything, battery comes out first, or at least is disconnected first. I did that with my fingernail, but you just as easily can do it with your spudger. And then we come in with our ear speaker. Now I'm really quickly going to transfer my components for my screen. Now I'm going to heat up this area from the front. We nudge our proximity sensor, which if it's heated up just enough, it'll come right out. And then here, use the pointed end, be gentle. That's your microphone right here. It's probably blurry because I have the autofocus lock on. All right, very important. Specifically this screw is very easy to accidentally, if you slip, and I have done this before on more than one model, but generally with your tri-wing, you want to sort of put something here in case this slips, it accidentally hits this thing, which isn't going to affect it at all, versus accidentally damaging your display underneath. This one's not a problem. Now, I generally start with the charging port, but you can do this in whatever order you like. It's not a bad idea, or I'll go as far as to say it's a good idea to take both your camera and front camera and put them in some baggies of some sort. I mean, this whole thing is going to take me about an hour. It takes me less if I'm, or it takes me more if I'm narrating it, less if I'm not. But you want to avoid accidentally damaging or getting dust on your front or rear camera. Your rear camera is replaceable, but then you end up with this stupid message that says it can't confirm the authenticity. If you get dust on your front camera, it's a whole can of worms that you probably don't want anything to deal with, because Apple pairs the functionality of this camera, because it's an assembly. So if you have to replace this, you end up losing Face ID. I made a video, which I'll also link right here, where you essentially have to, if you do, let's just say, have your front camera that's damaged and you want to replace it. It's so dumb because essentially you need to like Dremel out the underside on another camera, remove the camera, and then do the same thing here, Dremel out, and then put that camera in here to retain the dot projector, which is ultimately what makes Face ID work. So sorry for the rant. There is some adhesive about right here, but once that's out, gently lift up for your camera. This one just came right out. Now we can move on to our charge port. In Apple's infinite wisdom, we're going to use more than one bit. Thanks, Apple. So, first of all, if you've got this far and you think, hell no, I do mail-ins. Second, I also buy iPhones. Working, broken, whatever. Even if it looks like this, I'm still interested. Link in the description. Let's make a deal. Next, our SIM tray. And then we're also going to nudge this little dude in. And then we have a variety of different... I guess we have a tri-wing here. We also have some screws that are in the frames. We have one here, and then we have another here. The majority of these are Phillips though, so I'm gonna speed ramp right through this. Now I'm gonna pause here. There is a little bracket here, so you just want to sort of nudge down and then push to the right, and then it'll come right out. And we have three standoffs, and then we have 2 Phillips. All right, next. We need isopropyl alcohol and some pointed tweezers. So the way I do my batteries is I start... So I sort of wrap my tweezers around part of the adhesive, and then I come in with a couple drops on top, a couple drops below. That was going fine, and then it tore. So we're gonna do the same thing over here. It's gonna be difficult for me to get this on camera, but there's still a lot of this. There we go. Once that's there, there we go. Now, these 2 adhesives are almost an afterthought. So I let the adhesive sink in, And then I lift this up at a 90-degree angle. You can see right there. So we then take our tweezers and peel this little piece of tape back. You then have 3 screws and a bracket. And then we have these 2 spacers, which you'll see in just a sec. So there's not a whole lot of adhesive holding this on. Now I will point out a couple of things. Our front mic is here. You want to sort of nudge that out of the way. Be careful not to damage it. Next, we have our other front mic, or lower mic. Then we want to come under the charge port. We then have some adhesive under this, and our port literally just comes right out just like that. You'd think we're done with the charging port, but not quite. So there's still some speaker mesh in here. I'm gonna heat this up. I'm just gonna blast it right there. We're gonna poke these things out. Now, whatever you do, don't sneeze. Don't make any sudden movements. Those things will fly away so easily. All right, so I'm gonna do something really quick here before. I'm always being asked in my videos, why didn't you do the gasket? So I have a video coming about that soon. I'll be going over some of the misconceptions with perimeter gaskets and how water resistant they really are. I recently came across an iPhone 8. I'm going to pull the screen off, remove the old perimeter gasket. I'm going to clean it up as best as I can. I'm then going to install a genuine Apple gasket and see if the phone is still water resistant. So, tune in. Subscribe. All right, so that whole thing took me like 5 minutes. And that was with no parts. If there were parts in this thing, that would have taken considerably longer. Now I need to straighten that out. Then I can come in. Now, it's not a bad idea. It's a pretty good idea to clean out your charging port if it is dirty. This one's fine. You can still do it when the port is in the phone, but now I like to test my fitment. Because on the off chance that it's crooked, it is a huge pain. So next we have a standoff 1, 2, and 3. All right, then we can drop in. Let's not forget about our 2 Phillips right here. We then have a tri-wing. All right, next we have all right, so that's my charging port. We need to grab our SIM ejector. Okay, so the little, this is a grounding pin, is on the left. So next I'm gonna work on getting the board out, which has 1, 2, 3. Next we have, I'm gonna put in some iso alcohol. There's some adhesive. As you can see, holding this flex to this flex. I don't know why they do it this way, but there's this little flap needs to come off before we can disconnect our, this is the power volume wireless charging flex. And then I just do that. All right, next we have Wi-Fi, flash rear mic. I want to say that's Bluetooth. And then I'm going to leave this one for last because I normally say don't use metal. This is sort of the exception, but you want to get it right in between there, but not very far. You can take our board, set it aside. So our Bluetooth is held in with just 3 tri-wings. Two more, technically one more, but I do it as a group. And we have 2 standoffs and a tri-wing for our rear mic. Now, sometimes, mine didn't do this, but sometimes this little foam pad will get stuck to the flash. So just be gentle. Now, before I forget, I'm gonna put this bracket in. You want it to be open, so open is up. So our volume power, this is all one giant flex. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side, 2 on this side. Now I'm gonna hit this with quite a bit of heat. So I try to start from about there, and then I come if you want to, you can apply some more alcohol, and then as you can see, that just came right off. Like this on this side looks OEM, this looks like I messed with it. All right, next. Next, we work on our switches, which would be these right here. Now, these little hangers, I don't see what their purpose is. They're one of the few things that I will not reinstall. But as we can see, you rotate in a counterclockwise. So push in, rotate in a counterclockwise to the 12 o'clock position. And then they come out. And then we can just pop both of our buttons out. Now, I did a video the other day where somebody spilled, I think it was beer, and ended up making the button, even though it was fully functional, it made it so that it was just really mushy. So with that said, if yours are dirty, now's a good time to clean them out or clean them off. So same thing, push in. You should hear a snap. Okay, here we go. Rotate. There we go. And for a third time. There we go. I'll install this in a sec. First, I have a couple of tri-wing screws. Now, we need to heat up this antenna. So I'm just gonna hit this portion with some heat. Oh, and I forgot, there's a Phillips right here. All right, then this comes out and goes right back in. If the adhesive is still warm, all the better. There we go. Now for our rear mic. Some more heat. You want to go easy because you don't want to accidentally melt your flash.
We'll nudge our flash out that way.
Now, mine doesn't have it, so I need to transfer it over. So now that basically everything is out, I'm just going to blast the crap out of this area because we need this bracket so that we can transfer over this mesh. All right, there we go. That came out. Now to nudge our microphone mesh. Transfer that over. So I saw a video that Hugh Jeffries did the other day where he took all of these individual magnets out and then glued all of them individually on to a new housing, which I just could not believe. I mean, I know he's in Australia. If you're in Australia, tell me this, but is there not a vendor that supplies MagSafe magnets? So I think they cost me like $1.85, which if I had to guess is no more than like $3 or $3.50 Australian. I don't know. Somebody fact check me on that. There we go. Saves so much time. There is an orientation. So as you can see, this is our power button. And then there's a little cutout right there. So we are going to orient it properly. Now this could totally be overkill, but I'm taking some primer. While that's drying, I'm gonna put in my microphone. What are we doing? This way. So, and you can totally just use this, which is the alignment pin, or the alignment magnets. You actually use it for alignment. And then we can put in our volume, mute switch, coil, all that jazz. Okay, so fold back your Wi-Fi just a little bit. Just enough for your volume, not volume, mute switch to come off. So remember, red up top. Now, I like to put in my board next, as once you start putting in a couple of other flexes, the 2 other flexes that we need to, it can get kind of busy in here. So, nudge these out of the way. We can start snapping some of these guys in. Now, one of the things that helps me is on the Wi-Fi, it can be kind of stiff, is I'll sort of nudge it at a diagonal angle, and that'll sort of get it to fit in place. All right, now we have our Bluetooth, which I just peel this foam off. It's not needed. Next we have, one of those is already there. The next is there. We then connect our 5G antenna. All right, we have, I forget what this thing is. There is a little alignment pin immediately behind it, but it should, as long as you get this on straight, it should be fine. Next, for your camera, make sure you don't have any dust or debris. All right, so we're here. My camera does have some dust in it, so I'm gonna clean this out. Sometimes this connector comes undone far too easily, so just keep an eye on that. You want to make sure your front camera, this should be sitting underneath this little shelf right here. Okay, my battery is right here. It is imperative that it is facing this direction. If you do not, your battery will blow up. Now, the technique that I prefer goes something like this. You connect your battery first, and then you actually push your battery in place. The reason being is if you do it the other way around, sometimes if it's too high or too low, getting this connector in just the right place is, let's just say, it can be complicated or complicated. All right, next, disconnect your battery. Then we come along with our gasket. Now, I like to start from the bottom. Now, this is an OEM gasket. It'd be awesome if Apple sold these for like the 11s or the 10Ss, but they don't. Next, let's start to peel these back. All right, then, once again, make sure your battery is disconnected. Make sure that this flex didn't come disconnected somehow. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to mention, like I normally do, loose screws have a habit of getting stuck pretty much anywhere there's a magnet or something sticky. So along the perimeter gasket or on your ear speaker, loudspeaker, or Taptic engine. On more than one occasion, I have accidentally damaged these and damaged very expensive screens. I mean, this isn't that expensive, but still, I wouldn't want to damage any screen, regardless of how expensive it is. We're then going to position it like so.